There's an article from the Tribune, which I would seek now. So, the article from Tribune, written by Adam Musadio Oluwa, Musadio Oluwa, on December 16th, 2025. It says, "Why I will not remarry after my husband's death, Aisha Buhari." So, the article reads, former First Lady Aisha Buhari has revealed that she has no plans to remarry, describing the decision as pragmatic rather than moralistic. She will not remarry, she says, almost with a shrug, she told Dr. Charles Omole, author of the new 600-page biography titled From Soldier to Statesman: The Legacy of Muhammadu Buhari, which was unveiled at the State House, Abuja, on Monday. The article goes on, this article from Tribune. It is not a moral pronouncement so much as a pragmatic one. She has grandchildren. One husband was enough, the book added. The 22-chapter biography traces Buhari's life from his early years in Daura, Katsina State to his final hours in a London hospital in mid-July 2025. Presents Mrs. Buhari's stance on remarriage as a refusal to conform to cultural binaries that often portray widows as either betrayers or saints. In a culture that sometimes reads remarriage as betrayal or saintliness, her answer refuses both scripts. It is simply a woman naming the contours of her future, the book explained. Looking ahead, Mrs. Buhari plans a quieter public life, dividing her time between family, philanthropy, and travel. The article continues from Tribune. Her plans are domestic and cosmopolitan at once. She will holiday with friends and associates. She will dote on grandchildren, so they will remember her not as a moving figure behind tinted glass, but as a presence in their childhood rooms. She will run her foundation, the Aisha Buhari Foundation, and the Cardiovascular and Medical Center in Kano that has already completed over 200 procedures. She will host, collaborate, and extend the same ethic of care that animated her politics into a quieter, more sustainable hospitality, the book noted. Omole described Mrs. Buhari's decision as a personal reset after years in the political spotlight. If the Republic expects a politics of eternal return, she offers a politics of departure instead. Let others take the stage, let the house heal, he said. For Aisha Buhari, her marriage served as both a refuge and a trial. It gave her a platform to voice her opinions only to punish her for doing so. It opened doors to the decision-making spaces, but those spaces became unwelcoming. In 2014, she was entrusted with meeting the nation's expectations. By 2014, she was excluded from acknowledgement, further read. After his divorce in 1988, Muhammadu Buhari married Aisha Buhari on 2nd December 1989. Born in 1971 in Adamawa State, she became First Lady when Buhari returned to power in 2015. The couple were married for 35 years and had 5 children. That's one article. Then there's the second article from Tribune. This one by Israel Arogbola on December 16th. It says how Buhari reacted when told I planned to kill him, according to Aisha Buhari. Former First Lady Aisha Buhari has revealed that her late husband, former President Muhammadu Buhari, reacted to rumors circulating within the presidential villa that she was planning to kill him. Aisha Buhari said the gossip led the former president to briefly believe the claims, prompting him to lock his room and abandon a street feeding and nutrition routines she had put in place for his health. Her account is contained in a new 600-page biography titled "From Soldier to Statesman: The Legacy of Muhammadu Buhari", written by Charles Omole and launched at the State House on Monday. According to the former First Lady, the health crisis that forced Buhari to spend a combined 154 days on medical leave in the United Kingdom in 2017 was not caused by poisoning or mysterious illness, but by a disruption of his carefully managed nutrition regimen. She explained that she had long supervised Buhari's meals and supplements, a routine she said was essential for maintaining the strength of a slender man with a long history of malnutrition symptoms. Elderly bodies require gentle, consistent support. He doesn't have a chronic illness. Keep him on schedule, Aisha Buhari was quoted as saying. The book recounts that before moving into Aso Rock, Buhari's feeding routine was closely monitored in Kaduna. Upon assuming office, Aisha said she convened a meeting with key aides, including Buhari's physician, Suhab Rafi Dadi, the Chief Security Officer Bashir Abubakar, the housekeeper and the Director General of the State Security Service to explain the nutrition plan. However, the routine soon broke down. Then came the gossip and the fear-mongering. They said I wanted to kill him, Aisha Buhari said, adding that her husband believed the claims for about a week. According to her, Buhari began locking his room, altered daily habits, and crucially stopped taking meals and supplements regularly. For a year, he did not have lunch. They mismanaged his meals, she said. The disruption, she maintained, triggered the deterioration of Buhari's health, culminating in his 2 extended medical trips to the UK in 2017, during which Vice President Yemi Osinbajo served as acting president. Omole wrote that Buhari later admitted he had never been so ill and had received blood transfusions during the period, sparking widespread speculation and conspiracy theories about his condition. Aisha Buhari dismissed claims of poisoning, insisting that the loss of routine nutrition was the real cause of the crisis. In London, doctors reportedly prescribed an even more intensive supplement regimen. Initially hesitant, Buhari eventually recovered after Aisha took charge of administering the supplements. After just 3 days, he threw away the stick he was working with. After a week, he was receiving relatives, she recalled. That was the genesis and also the reversal of his sickness, the book quoted her as saying. Omole noted that while critics viewed Buhari's reliance on UK hospitals as evidence of Nigeria's failing healthcare system, a more compassionate perspective recognizes the specialized care often required by elderly patients after decades of systemic underinvestment in local health facilities. So, there's another article from Tribune, which I'll read. This one was written by Taiwo Amodu, December 17, 2025. Quotes the former First Lady Aisha. For 8 years, Buhari had wrong people in right places. Aisha on Buhari's 8 years justified support for Tinubu in 2023. The article says, former First Lady Aisha Buhari has passed a damning verdict on the 8-year tenure of her husband, the immediate past president, late Muhammadu Buhari. In a book unveiled on Monday at the banquet hall of the State House entitled From Soldier to Statesman: Legacy of Muhammadu Buhari, authored by Dr. Charles Omole, the former First Lady narrated how the former president was held captive by a small cult of elderly relatives and elites, whom she further described as a mafia of a certain kind, with native intelligence bent to private ends. In chapter 22 of the book, with the subtitle Revelations at Last, After the Silence, Aisha Buhari's account of the villa and the men who fought a presidency. The author gave a gripping account of how those who labored to ensure victory for Buhari in 2015 lost out in the power game at the State House, with the mafia dictating who got what, when, and how. So the article from Tribune continues. The First Lady's predicament worsened in 2017, 2 years into the first tenure of the late president, as the strongmen who cautioned the president that his wife's strong character would overshadow them if she were let in, actually plotted to push her out of the villa. In Aisha's account, the house quickly filled with relatives and their wives and grandchildren, as well as courtiers and staff who learnt the shortcuts and shadows. They tried to push everyone out, including me, she said. It's a blunt statement, and she knows it sounds blunt, but she stands firm on her boundaries. This is my house. You can live wherever you like, but you cannot be in charge of my husband's office and then also be in charge of me, his wife, inside my house. With most of our children living and studying abroad early in Buhari's first term, extended family members filled the void and occupied houses across the villa. And because of his fondness and attachment to his extended family and old friends, Buhari was vulnerable to all kinds of scheming and manipulations. Those who knew his weaknesses exploited them to the detriment of the lofty goals of his administration. She describes a simple, volatile sociology. The president is not just a man, he becomes common property. Relatives with no official roles begin to influence access. The people who dined with her husband during the long years of opposition are no longer seen. Familiar faces are locked out, their names allegedly logged by security agents and reported elsewhere. When she privately raised these concerns and saw no change, she spoke publicly. She still remembers the chalk of the 2015-2016 ministerial slate. Campaign stalwarts on the outside, technocrats and loyalists of others on the inside, a growing gap between the promise of a government and the reality of a government. They had money, they had people, but they did not have the power to install a president. She says now, almost wryly, they reduced Nigeria to a sitting room meeting. She attributed the public outcry and sordid judgment trailing the late president's stewardship to the cabal that held him hostage. Her language for the proximal circle is uncompromising. Some followed him to obtain material things, money, access, contracts, and could not distinguish between power, purpose, responsibility, and the rewards that proximity provides. According to her account, the practical effects were evident. Shadows shifted, mails disappeared, allies were excluded, rumors circulated that signatures were forged, and a president who feared being called a dictator hesitated to dismiss men who disappointed him. He had the wrong people in the right places, he says. He didn't change them for 8 years. The book also revealed why in 2023 the former First Lady settled for the incumbent president, Bola Tinubu, as the All Progressive Congress presidential candidate, while the cabal was scheming to install a certain aspirant from the north to succeed the late Buhari. In the narrative attributed to Aisha Buhari by the author, the First Lady settled for Tinubu for two reasons: the moral imperative for power shift to the south and the electoral value of Tinubu, whom she noted had the capacity to guarantee victory for the ruling party. When 2023 approached, the struggle over succession intensified. Aisha's support for Bola Ahmed Tinubu was both open and strategic. She presents it on two levels. The first is the informal norm of power rotation. We have spent 8 years in the North. Peace is priceless. Let us give the South the chance. The second is electoral arithmetic. In her telling, she asked key governors from the North a tough question. Among your aspirants from the South, who can be sold in the North? She took their answer as a line to follow. The governors responded and said Tinubu was the most sellable in the North. She states her husband neither instructed nor interfered. He has never, she claims, he did not interfere to make anyone president. But the cabal around her husband, headed by Mama Dara, she said, had other ideas. So this is the report from Tribune. Several articles from Tribune accounting different aspects of what was seen in the book. So